in the context of a loan, what do we say most like really large loans are for? Usually for getting like a car or a house or that kind of thing. So portability, what that refers to is, are you able to, like I borrowed this amount of money, but can I port that over to buy something else? Okay, so for example, I've bought a house, okay, and you're like, and the bank is like, sure, we'll give you X amount of dollars for that. And then at some point in that time period, you're like, actually, I'm going to sell this house and buy another one with this amount of money that I've borrowed from you, okay? So this is like transferring over that debt for a different purpose, okay? Now, you think about it from the point of view of the bank. Why might you be not okay with people doing that?
You have an established agreement.
Okay.
And that's gone.
Yeah, that's right. So the first thing is like, well, this is all on a contract, right? So I'm not just going to go back on that. But, you know, you can see some people are quite willing to do it if they'll pay you a fee. The risk is, let's come back to me filing bankruptcy, okay? If I file bankruptcy and I'm like, sorry, I know I owe everyone in this room money, but sorry guys, can't do it, okay? You're actually going to say, hey, hold on, we're not going to let you out that easy, you know, and just say, oh, the debt's called off. You're going to be able to say, look, I have assets that can be sold to get that money back, right? Have you guys heard of repossession? Yeah. Repossession. So it's like, hey, I have all this stuff and you guys have the right as my creditor, the bank has the right as your creditor to sell off your stuff to be able to make that money back, okay? Now, think about this. You agreed, I'll borrow the money, I'll buy this house, right? The bank is looking at you and shaking your hand and smiling, but behind their back, they're like, yeah, great, but that house that you're buying, I'm gonna sell it if you declare bankrupt, right? Why will they sell it? That's how they'll recover the debt, right? Now, if you say, hey, it's cool, I know we agreed to buy that house, I'd like to buy this really dingy one in a terrible area now, is that okay? They're not gonna be okay with that because they're not necessarily guaranteed to get their debt back. Does that make sense? So they're like, yeah, you wanna do that? That's not for free. We wanna check, we wanna send our auditors out and make sure that that house you're porting this mortgage over to is actually going to repay our debt. Does that make sense? So that's kind of like an administrative fee, if you like.
So what's the parental leave?
Yeah, okay, cool. Let's talk about these two together.
Yeah, but like, you're saying no. Like, no, you're not allowed to be a parent.
These two, despite sounding very different, are actually the same thing, basically, okay? Have a look. Yeah, question.
I sort of understand it, but like, can you define it?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so portability, when it says like $300, that's how much they're going to charge you. That's how much they're going to charge you if you want to transfer your mortgage paying off this house versus it's paying off some other object, like a different house or a different piece of land or a different car or something like that. Repayment holiday and parental leave. I know they sound very different, but when you have a look at the answers to each of them, you see remarkable similarities. They are the same thing. Here's your definition for each of them. A repayment holiday or parental leave is basically you say to the bank, hey, can I take some temporary time off from paying this loan? Can I take some temporary time off of some fixed amount that we'll agree to, like say, oh, I don't know, a year, that's how maternity leave works, that kind of thing. Can I take a year off from making these repayments? You'll keep on calculating interest. I promise I'll come back, I'm good, you can check my credit history, da-da-da-da. But can I have a period of time when, hey, for example, I'm on holidays, I'm not earning money, so I can't make these repayments? Or I've just had a child, I've got to stop working, or I've got to work on a part-time basis and I just can't make this $1,888 a month. Can I agree to a temporary amount of time, some number of weeks and months, where payments just stop, right? I still owe you stuff and the interest is still going, but can I have a break? Basically.
Honeymoon says no.
Okay, honeymoon's like, yeah, forget that, okay? Or no frill says you want to pay for the privilege, etc.
That's so rude.
You can see why, by the way, you're like, oh, look over here, right? Look at the top line. And we looked and we said, man, that interest rate, why would anyone in their right mind choose a bank account with a higher interest rate than all these other ones? They're going to make you pay through the nose for that, right? Do you remember how much of a difference it made, little percentages before? Well, the reason you go for a higher interest rate than these guys is because you get all of these benefits along with it. Does that make sense? Okay. So you need to make a decision for yourself and think, oh, okay, does this matter to me? Is this an important feature to have on my bank account? Well, then I'd better pay for it, right? No such thing as a free lunch.